Okay, great, everybody. Let's just go ahead and get this webinar started. Today we have some very special webinar that's been set aside for you. In addition to the Fanvil Overview, we've invited one of our strategic PBX partners, Yeastar, to join us today so that you will sort of get a differentiated outlook in terms of seeing, the great combination between their solution and our solution together. But before I get started with the actual data, I'll just get some house cleaning done. In your GoToWebinar client, you should have a handout section. And in the handout section, we've actually uploaded some PDF files for you to download. One of them is a soft copy of this presentation so that you can go ahead and download it for your future reference and jot down any notes, so there's no really need to do that. In addition to that, I've also put in my personal contact information as well, so that you can go ahead and reach out to me directly. At the end of this presentation, I have a generic sales contact for both Yeastar and Fanvil, but if you wanted to reach me directly, I gave you my direct contact through chats. Okay, now with that started, in terms of questions, if anybody has any particular questions, feel free to put in your questions in the question box, and both Jason from Yeastar and myself will end up going through that in the last minute Q&A session. All right, so what I have here is I'm just going to go over a quick background overview for Fanvil, and then Jason from Yeastar is going to go ahead and talk about Yeastar Overview and the differentiated features that he has to bring to the marketplace, followed by myself, and then we'll go into a Q&A. Now, with that said, let's just quickly go over some of the items for the people who aren't familiar with Fanvil. We build basically SIP IP endpoints, and SIP IP endpoints can really be divided into several categories. Obviously, here is the cloud and local server, which is something that Yeastar will speak to, but I'm going to talk about all of these peripherals. This is something that comes from Fanvil. In addition to the business phones that we offer here in black, those are really what we call our XSeries product line, which is really targeted for the commercial business as well as home use or whatever you tend to need a specific desk phone. Complementing that line, we also have something that we've isolated for the hospitality market. So hospitality has their specific needs and customizing of templates. We offer all of those standards, but we have something specialized with that as well. Something that's very unique that Jason will kind of talk about a little bit into in the future is that for those who deploy hospitality phones, the combination of our solutions offer quite a bit of a joint benefit in being able to communicate with the hotel's management system as well. And that's something that Jason will go ahead and get into. Beyond the desk phones, we also have access points, where not only do we provide a solution for most office tables, but we also have front door access gates that allow people to either enter in a code or use an RFID card to be able to enter into the office building. We have several different environments that go from indoor commercial to outdoor rugged environments that can handle high humidity and rain as well. Indoor, we also have what we call indoor stations, which really is sort of a reformatted phone that allows the client to be able to see who's at the door and be able to have an integrated Wi-Fi and a speakerphone all integrated into a small platform with a few speed dials to allow quick access, like opening the door, seeing who's at the door, etc., as a complement. Beyond that, we have Intercoms, which is really a subsegment of our iSeries product, and we have, again, many different environments that have with and without video for all the different pieces that we have. The fourth and last piece is really one of our more successful products, which is what we call our public announcement. The most popular is our PA2 series, which we actually use this to allow our providers to convert any SIP interface into any analog interface that works on SIP. I'll give you an example. Very often when you go into a business or an education facility, you end up having a PA system that was run by the legacy telephony switch. And once you upgrade it into SIP, Now all of a sudden you go, what do I do with my PA system? Well, with the PA2, that allows a SIP gateway to assign, an extension to it so that you can call it. It will do an auto answer and be able to set off whatever existing analog applications you have. Coupling all these things together, we also have a management system that's both downloadable today, which you can load on your own server. But within a month from now, we're also going to be releasing a cloud version, which is FDMS, which allows you to the same functionality. Actually, we actually have some enhancements on the cloud version that will come out. We call it FDMS 3. That'll give you a quick dashboard look. Now, this is just to complement the management capability that Yeastar is going to bring as well, but their management company also software manages their PBX. So that is an overview of some of the things we have, and what I'll do here is I'll go ahead and transfer this slide over to Yeastar, and I'll bring the mic over to Jason for his view. And by the way, when I go ahead and introduce Jason, I want to say he's sort of the senior Yeastar trainer for a lot of these solutions. So you have sort of the person that knows quite a bit about these solutions. So Jason, go right ahead.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining today's session. I'm Jason from Yeastar training team, and I'm going to give you guys a brief introduction about our solution today. Let's give it a check here. We were talking about this full integrated solution between Yeastar and Fanvil. So, for endpoints, you got several options there from Fanvil side. And about the server, we're going to talk about in today's session is going to be Yeastar cloud solution, which is a totally virtualized system, and the on-premise system. This on-premise system I'm going to talk about in today's session is actually a brand new model, which has been launched by the end of October in year 2020. It's a brand new solution. So generally speaking, for you guys, the solution you can get from Yeastar is pretty flexible, like you mentioned. If you prefer the hardware solution, you can have the on-premise solution, which is the PSeries PBX. Or if you want to have a more flexible solution based on cloud hosted solution, you can have the cloud PBX. So this is going to be our solution in today's session. And by the way, like I mentioned, we got a pretty good compatibility with Fanvil endpoints. So for our solution, which I'm about to talk about in the next few pages, you guys will see it. Tommy, could you please move to the next page? Okay, here we go. Now, I'm about to talk about this on-premise solution first. This is going to be our PSeries system. We totally have three models from P550, P560, and P570. So totally three models. They can help us to cover from 50 users to maximally 500 users. I mean, exactly a pretty good solution designed for SME market with no doubt. And something I want to talk about here is this is definitely, for Yeastar, our vision on PSeries PBX is a little bit special. We would prefer to say this is definitely a PBX plus solution, or maybe you could say this is something like a next generation system, future-proof solution. Why? I'm about to talk about those details a little bit later. Now, first thing I want to talk about here is the PSeries system, the hardware designing is really interesting. For example, just an example, we do support a feature which has got NFC. Honestly, this is not a big deal, but it really helps you to simplify your user experience. I mean, that's something you can never have on a traditional telephony system. So what exactly is the NFC function? You probably want to know here. Now, as you guys can see here, all three models from PSeries, P550, P560, and P570. All these three models on the front side panel, you can see there's a Yeastar logo. And actually, we put an NFC tag behind the Yeastar logo. So this time, if you try to deploy your PBX, if you try to deploy especially Yeastar PSeries PBX in your local area network for the project, what you're supposed to do right now is simply just grab your mobile, get the Yeastar application. There's a free application provided by Yeastar called Yeastar Linkus. You can get this free application from Google Play, from App Store. Anyway, pretty easy to use. Get this application first, and you will be able to see there's an NFC option. So you simply just select it and use your mobile scan the Yeastar logo on the PBX directly. Now, guess what? You'll be able to use this application to configure the network settings for your PBX directly, even there's no power supply, guys. This is something really cool. I mean, I don't need to power on my system, and but I will be able to set the network configurations for my system directly. That's something so cool. That's something definitely you don't even have it on any traditional telephony system, right? So this is something very interesting. I guess it's not a big deal, but I think this is a pretty good example to tell you guys the PSeries system is going to be something special, and this is definitely going to be a future-proof solution. Let's keep going. I'm going to talk about some functionality, see exactly how do we figure this out. All right. So here's the deal. I'm going to put this. This is like a part of our data sheet. I just posted here. Let's have a quick look here. Well, like I mentioned, we got 3 models. They can cover from 50 users to maximally 500 users. So for P550, this is going to be a perfect solution for some small business users. You know, it provides you 50 users with 25 concurrent calls. But for P560 and P570, these 2 models are a little bit special. You know, originally you will be able to have 100 users, 30 concurrent calls on the P560. And on P570, you're going to be able to have 300 users, 60 concurrent calls. Well, if you prefer, you guys can see it's really flexible. You'll be able to change the system capacity. You'll be able to expand the capacity for your P560 and P570. So it's pretty flexible, and I guess this is really functional for, especially for some projects. Like if you got a project right now, you're going to handle a project for like a campus, like a government customer or public service users anyway. They probably want to have some flexibility for the capacity. There you go. You can simply change the system capacity easily by using our modules. And talking about modules, guys, there's another thing which is really important. Take a look here. Now, you guys can see our PSeries system can also support some interfaces for FXS, FXO, E1, T1. I mean, if you have some analog channels or digital channels left in your office. All right, so what's the deal? The deal is you can totally use our modules for the hardware customization. The interfaces are going to be customizable. It's pretty simple. So in other words, if you prefer to have a pure IP solution, you can simply deploy our PSeries PBX in your local area network. There you go. Everything's going to be SIP, right? Everything based on SIP, that's a totally pure IP solution. But if you prefer to have a hybrid solution, that's okay. Like I mentioned, we do support some interfaces for analog, for digital, so you can simply use our modules. By plug and play, then you'll be able to have this totally flexible hybrid solution. So generally speaking, this is a really dynamic system for lots of using scenarios. Okay, let's keep going for the next page. All right, guys, now let's take a look on some functionalities of PSeries PBX. Well, in today's session, I'm just going to give you guys an overview. This is kind of like an overview of our PSeries PBX. More details, I think, we can probably have more discussions in the future, and you guys can also subscribe our YouTube channel, get more information about the PSeries system. But anyway, let's take a look. So, like I mentioned at the very beginning, our vision on PSeries system is a little bit special. I mean, this is a brand new model from Yeastar, and you know, previously we also have some other solutions. So this time, the PSeries system is not just a PBX for Yeastar. Our vision on it is like we would prefer to create something more than just a PBX, or maybe like a posted here, beyond just a PBX. So why, right? We need a reason why we call this is something beyond just a PBX. Now, first thing first, this is definitely going to be something which can help you to provide the you know, whole solution for your communication with no doubt. So if you try to use PSeries system for daily communication, for some key telephony features, there's no problem. There's definitely no problem. All of our key telephony features are supported on the PSeries system with no doubt. But besides that, we can do something else. So let's give it a check here. As we know, something is like like unified communications, guys, you see this is definitely a buzzword, especially in last year, this year. To be very honest, we're still under this pandemic issue. It's nothing good, but it totally changes the way how we communicate. It just totally changes the way how we work, right? So unified communications, remote working, those type of things are going to be so popular uh, for now, and actually not just for now, even for the future. So PSeries system is definitely a pretty good solution. It's a pretty dynamic solution for the future. We got a pretty enhanced unified communication solution based on the PSeries system. So this time, if we're using the PSeries system, what you can do there is not just a communication solution only. I mean, what we can do for our customers is not just a solution for making calls only. This time, you will be able to have a video call feature. You're going to be able to have a video conference feature. You're also going to be able to have something like for collaboration, for example, manage your presence, instant messaging, share documents, do whatever you want. This is totally for unified communication. And by the way, like you mentioned, remote working, that's another big deal, right? Especially under the current situation. So PSeries system also provides our customers a better user experience for remote working, which is we provide something called Yeastar RAS, Remote Access Service. So what was that? The remote access service is like a fully encrypted private tunnel for remote working solution. It means this time if our customers they're using our PSeries system for remote connection, for remote working, they don't have to do anything for network configuration anymore. They can simply use this remote access service on the PSeries system for the remote connection, remote communication, do whatever you want. And the point is, it doesn't matter where you are. You could stay in New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, anywhere, wherever you are, you're going to be connected totally. You can work in your office, you can work in your house. You're going to be able to use our Linkus mobile client or PC client or even the web client for making calls, for making video calls, or starting a video conference, whatever you want to do. So this is definitely a more dynamic solution comparing with the traditional telephony system. And of course, we can also provide something else on the PSeries PBX, like a call center. By the way, the call center solution on the PSeries system is more like this is more like an inbound call center solution, by the way, guys. To be very honest, I guess inbound call center is going to be pretty popular in the States. Most of our customers, I'm pretty sure they really need an inbound call center. If you care about your business, seriously, pretty sure you will like to have such a solution which can help you to manage your service center. If you're running a service center, just in case. So we got a pretty good solution built in the PSeries PBX. You can just use it directly without any other platforms integration, which is the call center based on PSeries. By the way, PSeries system can also support third-party integrations, which I was talking about that. I just mentioned that, right? So third-party integrations, this is totally supported on PSeries system as well. Just for example, guys, Microsoft Teams. This is so popular, especially under the current situation. For team collaboration, lots of customers, they're using Teams, right? So you can totally integrate your Teams with our PSeries system. So generally speaking, like you mentioned, our vision on PSeries system is going to be different, and actually the PSeries system, it works in a different way. This is totally going to be a more dynamic solution, more comprehensive solution. Yeah, I guess that's it for this page. Let's keep going.
Thank you very much, Jason. Let me just transition now into the core IP desk phones that Fanvil has, which has been very popular in the North American marketplace. Very often, a lot of people get confused between so many SKUs that cover so many different varieties of phones, and in fact, Fanvil went the opposite way in being able to concentrate many of the core features into 4 separate models, and we call this our XU series phones. So with the Fanvil X3U, this is really our base model that really lacks a BLF key that's available in most of the other phones, and this is to really handle basic audio communication. And as you move up into the X4U, we start introducing BLF keys that enable the end user without any of the fancy stuff. So this is what we call the one above the baseline, which actually provides many of the different capabilities, but at a lower scale. And this offers a USB port, which you can hook in a Wi-Fi as well as a Bluetooth capability. Once you move up to the X5U and X6U, Bluetooth is now part of the actual phone itself. So that kind of gives you wireless connectivity into many other endpoints that you may want to use in conjunction with this telephone. For example, you can even pair up your mobile phone with these type of phones to sort of make it a separate external call that you can assign here as well. And then, of course, topping the line with the X6U, it's really one of the unique 3-display phones that exist in the marketplace, because we actually provide a very extended BLF capabilities with all of these keys. And not only is it all these keys, but there's a special button down here that gives you multiple windows within all these keys. And coupling that, we also have H.264 video codec display. As I showed earlier, we have video codecs that exist not only with our door entry systems and intercoms, but any particular IP camera that could inject VGA quality or H.264 type of codec. You should be able to see it very well on our desk phones that you see here, or even on the indoor stations. Another differentiating feature is the fact that we also offer a 2-year warranty amongst all of our phones. Now let's get into some of the differentiating facts. I always like to talk about the design, and most people like Fanvil phones because of its buttons. And the reason why is that here with the X6U, all of these buttons are outlined here, which is very much a step up or the same layout as many of the legacy phones that has existed in the past. So the net result is end user training is minimized by upgrading into these phones. And when you actually multiplied multiple SIP accounts, you can actually put the SIP accounts left of the display so that you can manage all your calls, your parking, and all the different SIP management here while not disturbing any of the BLF keys that people like to see up front, in addition to many of the windows here. So in addition to that, another differentiating factor is being able to offer custom branding as well. So what I mean by custom branding is that for some of the providers that are capable of actually, procuring in some decent volume, say minimum of 200 units per model, then we offer a neutral version of these XU series, which provides you the ability of having this cutout, and then you can go ahead and provide your logo to the end customer. So instead of illustrating Fanvil, you could then display your logo here, and so that the customer will end up seeing your logo in addition to the internal GUI and external packaging, so it really looks like your phone going out to the customer place. If you have any further questions on this, feel free to give me a call or contact anybody at sales@fanvil.com, and we'll be more than happy to dig into the details. Complementing our XU series is our X7 series. These phones are targeted for people that really want an extra large display. And in the X7, we really divide into 2 different SKUs. One is the X7, which is our touchscreen phone, and the X7C. The difference between the two is really the screen itself, because we've learned over the years that touchscreen is a very subjective matter. You either love it or you hate it. So we developed 2 models that cater to either one of these, but with the same capabilities that take everything you saw in the X6U and rise above, and adding additional SIP accounts and everything for these phones. Complementing the X7, we also have the X7A, which is really the Android version. Many people like to work with some specific Android applications, which allows you to download these Android applications into this phone so that you can run that and also support all the capabilities of the X7 as well as the X7C. Now, specialized in IP phones, these kind of take off a little bit of a note. One of the things that you won't see from Fanvil is an extension board. Many people like to use extension modules for people that reside in the front desk as a reception or a center contact center. What we've done is a little bit different. We were able to integrate 2 extension boards and integrate it on the same motherboard as the phone. So what that creates is really a high value upfront desk that's been kind of integrated into one. So that makes field installation a lot easier for people, having everything aesthetically match in terms of color in both the center screen as well as the side. But in addition to that, we also offer 3 separate windows of all of these different buttons. So it's almost having one high-end phone with 6 different extender modules taking up far less space as well as cost for the end customer to support all those features. You can go to the opposite end. We also have a very small phone for the call center that offer you all of the same capabilities, and being able to have a hanger for you to offer to provide a headset hanger for people who want to do that in a call center. I talked a little bit about the PA2 and PA3. I'll mention about some of the applications later on in some of the application slides. Of course, this is a business office type of scenario. This is a case here where you can actually deploy the Yeastar P-Series into the network, or you can actually go ahead and reach into their cloud series. Either one will work in this atmosphere, and we typically show our X-Series products working in conjunction sometimes with our door access modules to be up front in the front office. Here we want to talk about some of the remote office solutions, and I think Jason mentioned a little bit earlier that given our global scenario, having a remote office is almost a requirement these days. And you can use the Linkstar, the Yeastar Linkus application to be able to hook into iOS or Android type of smartphones, either directly through the Yeastar app, or you can call it Fanvil to be able to install, remote desktops, if that's what it really boils down to. And the idea is really up to you, depending on what project you want to do in. And I guess Jason could go ahead and interject and talk a little bit more about their console series here, if you want to say any words about this.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, guys, Tommy just mentioned we got a solution. It's called Yeastar Linkus. It's a really flexible solution, especially for remote working, guys. I mean, think about it. For remote working, I guess some of our customers, I guess they're not going to take IP phones in their house, right? So they need some flexibility for this type of, scenario. So here's the deal. If you're going to work remotely or you're going to work out of the office anyway, you can use our Linkus. It's a free application. Pretty simple, you can just jump into the App Store or Google Play, get this application on your mobile, right? And as we know, everybody got a smartphone, so it's really not a big deal for people to handle this application on their mobile. It's really easy to use. By the way, if you prefer to use your computer, we can also get another solution, which is going to be the PC client. So you can also use the application on your computer, or maybe you don't want to use the application. So what's the deal? If you don't want to use the application, here's another solution, which is much easier. It's called Web Client. If you don't want to use the application, you can simply use your computer, your laptop anyway, jump into the web browser, and you're going to access the system directly, because there's a thing which is called Linkus Web Client, totally based on your web browser. I mean, that's much easier and gives you a better user experience totally. And besides that, this web client gives you more functionalities. For example, previously I was talking about some advanced features like video call feature, video conference, right? And even something like for call center solution, we even have a visualized panel for you to manage everything. So everything will be based on this web client. You can have a really flexible solution based on it. And by the way, guys, we're talking about this fully integrated solution between Yeastar and Fanvil, guys. So you can see in this page, I also mentioned there's another feature which can supported by Yeastar. It's called CTI. So sometimes you're going to work in the office, right? Let's see, sometimes I'm going to work in the office with my desktop IP phone. So, but part of my job is to handle some incoming and outgoing calls through my desktop phone, but I still have something else to do. Means I still need to, switch it back on my computer, do my job, right? So it means I will need to switch between my computer and my IP phone, back and forth. It's complex. So is there any easier solution for me to handle this? We got a CTI. You can simply switch your web client to CTI mode. Means you don't need to switch between your phone and your web client back and forth. You can simply stay focused on your computer. but every single one of your incoming and outgoing calls, they're going to go in through your IP phone, but controlled by a web client, because we do support computer telephony integration. That's a pretty easy solution. I mean, especially for some call center users, right? I guess we got this XSeries model from Fanvil, the big phone. You guys see that? That's a pretty good solution for call center users, right? So if this is going to be a project for call center, I mean, why not? We can just deploy this XSeries phone with our Linkus web client, and we combine them together. That would be a perfect solution. You know, you can use your hardware desktop phone for handle incoming and outgoing calls, because that's what we usually do for a call center solution. But we give you a simplified solution. You can control everything through this Linkus web client. So that's exactly the thing I mentioned, fully integrated solution. And by the way, guys, for remote working, let's just act on this topic, all right? For remote working, what we can do is not just the application or web client for end users, terminal devices. Another deal is for remote working, I think what customers care about the most might be the security, because this is going to be a remote working solution. It means I'm going to use my terminal devices to access my PBX, which is deployed in the office remotely. So normally when we try to figure out this remote connection, we're supposed to do lots of configurations on our router, right? You got lots of network configurations based on your router. It's really complex, it's really tricky, and more importantly, it's not that good for security. It's a little bit risky. I mean, mostly you're going to configure something like port forwarding, right? So it's really risky. You know, if someone out there, he or she knows your IP address plus the port, they can just jump into your network. They can just totally mess up with everything you deployed in your local area network. This is totally out of our control. Now, good thing here is, like I mentioned at the very beginning, we provide you guys something called Yeastar Remote Access Service. That's a perfect solution for remote working, and it works on your Linkus UC clients. So the deal is, now if you enable this remote access service on our Yeastar PSeries PBX, it doesn't matter where you are. You can use your mobile client or PC client or the web client to access your system remotely by using this encrypted private tunnel. Means you don't even need to configure anything like port forwarding, public IP address. You don't need to do anything there, because there's a FQDN, fully qualified domain name, provided by Yeastar. So we just provide this fully qualified domain name to our end users directly. So I guess you will have two major benefits. Number one, you don't need to configure anything by yourself. Simplifies your user experience. Number two, this is good for security, because that FQDN, it's fully encrypted. So I guess that's it. That was all about this remote working solution, and let's keep going. Okay.
Great, thank you, Jason. This is just a quick preliminary showing of our up and coming FDMCS service. And by the way, we provide this free of charge to our providers and partners out there, which gives you really an organizational overview about all of the endpoints. And this is just something that complements already the management system that comes with the Yeastar as well. You use their software to sort of manage the cloud server, or you can use ours to basically manage the endpoints. And this also includes many of the access points and intercoms that I've actually showed in the earlier slides. Now let's talk about the hospitality market. In this market, we actually have some phones that are dedicated. We show our H-series room here, which is typically targeted for all of the different rooms as well. We also have some narrowband phones, which would fit auxiliary rooms, such as restrooms or other smaller rooms that require a smaller outfit here. We also have remote entrances where you could put in an intercom in the back of a hotel, where you could provide a one-button access to all of the different places, or you can use a door access to use an RFID card to be able to gain access into the hotels. Now, if you happen to be in a large hotel, you might end up coming across a parking gate. And in the parking gate, historically, they've always been analog, which provided an analog connection to the receptionist or the control center. Well, what do you do when you upgrade that analog into SIP? When you do that, you can actually use our PA2 to serve as sort of a gateway that interfaces and makes that analog interface into SIP so that they can go, you can have a two-way conversation as well as a physical push button to be able to release these gates and all that in case you have guests that are stuck behind the gate. Let's just talk a little bit more about these H-series phones. This is the H5 series that we're showing here. It comes in multiple colors. And we show the H3 and H5W. The W means that there's actually integrated Wi-Fi capability that's built into the phone. Very rarely do I stay in any hotel these days that doesn't have Wi-Fi, and this is sort of another option that you can do to provide these phones and provide Wi-Fi connections. So wherever there is an electrical connection, you could just plug in this phone and you could actually use the Wi-Fi network for this phone to interface to the rest of the hotel rooms. We also have a thin, narrow version here that provides a narrowband for all the other auxiliary rooms, and all of these are covered under a 2-year warranty. In case that you want to have bandwidth as an issue, all of these phones support Opus codec as well, and what that is really a low, it's actually a dynamic bandwidth codec, which in cases where there's low bandwidth in terms of availability of internet access, it'll actually adjust itself to go far in preserving the quality of the voice communication moving through. A unique feature that's also offered on our phone is a SIP hotspot. Not only is it offered in our hotel phones, but even in our business phones, you can actually have one extension that goes into the main phone, and you can use this main phone as sort of a SIP hotspot to be able to network into a lot of other slave phones that exist in other rooms. And therefore, when the main phone rings, it'll also set off other phones to ring at the same time, and the first person to pick up the phone will actually activate the call. Now this talks a little bit more about the PMS middleware that Jason will know a lot more about me in terms of talking about the Yeastar's capability and interfacing with the hotel's PMS. Okay, Jason?
Okay, sure. Yeah, sure. Okay. So for hotel solution, guys, a solution for hospitality, you know, endpoints, you definitely need lots of endpoints, lots of phones for every single one of our guest rooms, right? So here's the deal. Now, I mean, the point is you're supposed to use a server to deploy the whole solution, right? To connect all of your endpoints, those terminal phones in every single one of our rooms. So the server we were talking about here is going to be Yeastar PBX. All right, so we can simply just deploy our PBX in the service room by using the local area network. So we create the whole connections for everything, for every single one of our endpoints, right? Now, this is kind of like the solution. This is basically just a solution for communication. So it makes every single one of our rooms, they will be able to make a call between each other for our guests, right? So how do we manage our hotels, right? This might be a question for us. Now, here's the deal. Our PBX got a pretty good solution here is we do support property management systems integration. So here's, for example, guys, for some hotels, they might probably using something like Hilton's, like Micros Fidelio, you know, those big names, those big property management systems. So we do support that integration, and you can simply use our Yeastar PBX to integrate with those PMS directly, or maybe you can use the third-party. There's a third-party application which is called chart integration. So we can simply use the chart integration for figuring out this PMS integration. Now, we still got a question, I guess, so we probably just want to know, hey, what's the deal if we figure out the integration? What can we do there? Well, you'll be able to have lots of advanced features for you to manage your hotels. For example, like room check-in, room check-out, based on your telephony system, right? Or maybe you can also have something else like room management, room service. Those type of things can totally be based on the telephony system. I mean, our, those people who's in charge of the whole hotel, they can actually use their phone with a bunch of feature codes to realize those, operations. And even for something like a mini bar service, like a billing, we can totally use the telephony system to generate everything. You know, the stats, the report, whatever you need there. You don't need to, to manage those data separately. I mean, everything can be realized based on the telephony system once we figure out the integration. So, like, if this customer, he was, taking something from our rooms, or probably he just, let's see the minibar service. All right, for example, if he just drinks some Cokes anyway, we can simply use our, the gas phones. We can just grab it. We can use some featured codes to tell the system, to tell your PMS system that exactly what he did in that room, what exactly he just, take in that room. Anyway, so everything will be generated automatically. This is a full integration solution for hospitality. Okay. All right. I guess we can keep going.
Thank you. Yep, just want to speed things up through Smart Campus. In the campus environment versus a business environment, this is sort of a hybrid environment that uses quite a bit of campus security. You have a lot of external kiosks in remote parking lots and things like that. But in general, the whole integration of all of these systems, we could end up working together to provide a whole communication system throughout the campus, going in and out, coupled with access points, phones, et cetera, in all that fits in all the different rooms. This also applies to the PA2, since most campuses have broadcasting systems integrated to it as well. And just speaking of the intercoms, we have, this is just a quick snapshot of 3. We have like dozens of different models, but this kind of provides you really with some of the basic commercial models for just a one button. But we also have external models here that include cameras, and those that are just plain audio, depending on which atmosphere you have. We even have those that are designed for very ruggedized applications that can handle external rain as well as humidity type of environments. And here in this smart campus environment, I guess you can take the PSeries Yeastar and actually have it integrate with all of the different atmosphere. This is just a different level of diagram that shows more of how it looks like from an org chart perspective, where you can actually have, Linkus mobile applications being used to interface to our desktops, using our PA2 systems to access gateways, et cetera, all focused in on one system that could be centrally located on the PSeries PBXs from Yeastar.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. And this is kind of it following for the contacts and tools. We have the, contact information for general Fanvil sales as well as Yeastar sales and support that's provided to you. For those who may have came in later, this is also available as a soft copy in the handout section in case you want to reach out to either of us. Last but not least, we have a demo kit program in Americas where you can actually bundle a low end as well as a high end phone. The different models are located here from our distribution channel, so that you can go ahead and take this along for a test drive at a one-time only price to sort of minimize your risk in taking it for a test drive. That is it for now, and I guess I'd like to transition into the Q&A session between Fanvil and Yeastar. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the question and answer box that's in front of you, and both Jason and I will be able to address any questions that you might have. If not, you're more than welcome to listen to other questions, but if there's no other further questions, I want to thank you very much for your time. So I will just sit around and see if there's any questions that come up within the next minute or two. By the way, Jason, I do have a question for you. On the PC applications that run on the web, what type of browser do you recommend for the web apps?
Okay, so for the web client, we recommend you use like Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge. Yeah, you can also use Opera.
Got it. Okay, yeah. Great, fantastic. That was a question I had when you were mentioning that.
Okay, thank you for your question.
No problem.
All right, so guys, any questions about our solution? If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat panel, please.
Okay, it seems like there aren't any questions so far. Should any questions come up, feel free to send it out to sales@Yeastar or sales@fanvil.com, and we'll be more than happy to. I'm sure your question will be directed to the right person, and we'll be more than happy to respond to any of the questions you might have. With that said, I guess we could sort of draw this a conclusion. I don't see anything new coming up. And if something were to pop up, feel free. I put in my chat box, my contact into the chat window as well. Feel free to send me an email or a contact, and you can contact me the rest of today or anytime moving forward. Have a wonderful day, and again, thank you very much for your time. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.